Yo, Zack Snyder is on a roll. He's definitely cooking up something. Netflix is definitely cooking up something. I'm so convinced now. But let's talk about it. Okay, reactors, welcome back to the channel, the Nuclear Reactor, the reaction channel where all the reactions go nuclear. Before we get into this video, make sure y'all go to my sports page, Ring Culture. The link in the description. Y'all will love it over there. But back over here playing the Nuclear Reactor, y'all know I believe every action deserves a reaction. And over here, we are very, very reactionary. Make sure y'all like and comment down below. That's how y'all get me in the algorithm. And then I'll go get them. When my content hit them and fit them and sit with them, subscribe and hit the bell notification so y'all gonna be notified for every time I upload, and I upload a lot. Share my videos also so we can grow this community over here. So, Zack Snyder just posted another picture of Henry Cavill as Superman, and I gotta say this is my favorite one so far. Y'all know I read a lot from Cosmic Book News. They keep up on this type of stuff. So, in comic book news, comicbookmovie.com as well. But I'm going to read this article from Cosmic News because I really now firmly believe that Netflix is seriously considering putting out a huge, massive amount of money to acquire WBD and to continue Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm hoping that they continue to hold DCEU. I heard Mike DeLuca plan was to allow the DCEU to continue its course and see it to fruition. So I'm hoping if that's true that he will be put back in charge of DC. But we're going to read this article from CosmicBookNews.com. And it's almost undeniable now that Zack Snyder knows something that we don't, and he's priming us for the upcoming DCEU. I'm pretty sure he probably already talked to all these guys. He's already said on record that everybody in the the Justice League movies is his friends, and we know Gal Gadot always wanted to return as Wonder Woman. We know Henry Cavill playing Superman was important to him. And we know Ben Affleck had a lot of fun shooting with Zack. And that he has a script with Deathstroke, Joe Manganiello's character, a movie already written that I'm hoping is going to get done. So let's read this. Zack Snyder shares pure Superman photo as Cavill outshines Gunn again. Straight up. Zack Snyder keeps feeding the DC nostalgia wave. Today, he shared another photo of Henry Cavill Superman, this time a rare color 4.5 Polaroid. Snyder wrote on the Instagram, 4.5 Polaroid rare color, "I love this photo. It is pure Superman." The shot features Cavill in the suit looking powerful and confident, exactly how many fans still see him as a definitive modern Superman. And the timing continues to be impossible to ignore. Yes, Cavill Superman still dominates fans' energy. Snyder has been dropping one Cavill photo after another, just as the DC brand enters the transition phase and fans' interest swings back to the Snyder era. I agree with everything he just said, and I believe most people, I don't know if it's most, I believe over 50% of the people that I've heard, they love Cavill's portrayal of Superman. And y'all know he's my favorite Superman. And it's hard to overlook that. And I don't dislike David Corenswet as Superman. Sadly, I just wouldn't ever watch the movie because I was done with DC before Gunn took the reins. I gave it a chance to see what Gunn was going to do because I actually thought at first that James Gunn was going to continue the DCEU, and he decided to go a new route. And then when he said that he was writing a Superman movie, I was like, James Gunn can't write a Superman. Like, he just, yeah, he's not. James Gunn, I think he thinks he's a much better writer than he actually is. Um, I think he's a maybe above average or mediocre or above, little above average at best writer. I think he's a great director. I like his direction in films. He does some pretty neat things with action scenes, but writing a Superman movie, like James Gunn bastardizes the characters that he take on from what they were in the comic book. Like they're not the same characters. But anyway, Cavell Superman still dominates fans' energy. Snyder has been dropping one Cavell photo after another, just as the DC brand enters the transition phase and fans' interest swing back to the Snyder era. Meanwhile, James Gunn DCU and Superman have seen a steep drop off in streaming interest and fan engagement. Viewership traction on Max collapsed in week 3. At the same time, Netflix The Witcher is tanking in season 4 without Cavell, proving again how much pull he has with audiences. Fans are noticing a pattern. Cavell still moves the needle every time. Yes, he does. Snyder's post keeps fueling speculation. While we've been told that everyone moved on from the Snyderverse and that Snyder will only return for the Dark Knight Returns, the sudden rush of Cavell, Affleck, Deathstroke, Joker, and Batman photos, all while WBD is up for sale and Netflix is looking to acquire the studio, has fans thinking Snyder might have Snyder might know more than anyone is saying publicly. If only I could read. It's Cavell Superman versus Gunn Superman. The contrasts keep getting louder. Henry Cavill Superman film pulled in massive global box office total, as Man of Steel and Batman v Superman alone made far more money than James Gunn's Superman debut. It's not just theatrical either. Black Adam, which only featured Cavill in a brief cameo, outperformed Gunn's Superman on streaming. So when Snyder drops Cavill photos and calls it pure Superman, what exactly is Snyder trying to say? He's trying to say WB done messed up. That's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that my movies are better than James Gunn's Superman. That his Superman is better than James Gunn's Superman. He's trying to say his Wonder Woman is going to be better than James Gunn's Wonder Woman if that ever gets off the ground. That's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say James Gunn Batman will not compare to his Batman. That's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say Zack Snyder's Justice League and Batman vs. Superman the Ultimate Edition are masterpieces. That's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that Henry Cavill is the definitive Superman. That's what he's trying to say. And I got to say, I agree with him. I never liked, again, you already knew I was out before Gunn took the reins, took the mantle at WB because of the terrible leadership before Gunn got there that ran DC products into the ground with the keep switching and counseling. But now we're in the same predicament anyway because a lot of Gunn's projects are on hold. We have massive reshoots with Supergirl reportedly hitting David Cornsweet in the movie. So, look, the DCEU was successful when they stayed on course. And it was still successful even after the studio butchered Batman v Superman and just cut it down to a place where it didn't even make sense when it was in the movies. But when you added all that film back to the Ultimate Edition, the movie made perfect sense. It was still successful when the studio completely unfairly got rid of Zack Snyder because of the tragedy in his family, and then brought Josh Whedon and they tried to make Justice League like Avengers, which was copying that other universe. Didn't make any sense. It was still successful because after that, Aquaman reached $1.1 billion. So people were still interested in the product. Still, WB, every time they made a stride, they changed their minds and went somewhere else out of fear that they wasn't going to be Marvel. Marvel wasn't Marvel when Marvel first started. We all know that. I said this in my last video. The first 5 movies in the DCEU outgrossed the first 5 movies in the MCU. Then look how MCU became great. MCU became so great from staying the course that even their bad movies were still getting praised. I mean, come on. So we need somebody like a Kevin Feige in the sense that they will go back to the original plan of DCEU and just see it through. See it through. Make the standalone movies in between Darkseid being on his way to Earth with his armada, because he's doing it the old way. He's not going to come through a boom tube. He's actually bringing his whole fleet through space and time to come get the equation, since it's been found on Earth. Brilliant, because that leaves time for us to have standalone movies, to have other team-up movies before he gets there, before Justice League Part 2. I mean, it seems pretty simple to me. I don't know, but that's how you do it. I would green light Batman movie with Deathstroke, Joe Manganiello, stemming off of what Lex Luthor told him at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Set it up perfectly. Set it up just to knock it right out of the park. That spawned off into a movie. We still have Harley Quinn from Birds of Prey being broken up with Joker. You can explore her in another movie, because even though I thought Birds of Prey was just okay, I still like it in the DCEU. Remember, all the movies in the universe are not going to be hits, but some of them just going to be good to help set up something. The problem with DCEU movies was the leadership kept trying to separate these movies, but with the same actors that was in the universe. I would scrap Peacemaker Season 2 and not make it part of the DCEU, since he retconned what he had at the Season 1. Don't make that canon. It doesn't make any sense anyway. He uncanonized it to put them same people in his new universe, which is, it's just lazy. That's just lazy writing. Yeah, so all of James' DCEU should be scrapped. My boy playing Lobo. What's his name? Jason Momoa. Go back to being Aquaman. Keep Part 2, even though I didn't like Part 2 of Aquaman. And again, I wish we could see the original version of Aquaman with the Batman scene in it. And y'all know I love Flash. It's just that a lot of the CGI in the movie was unfinished. And James Gunn hyped that movie up. It was one of the best superhero movies he saw. Listen, I'm going to give it to him this. I loved Flash. But it got taken down so many notches because they released it with terrible CGI. It wasn't all the CGI, but a lot of, like, the Speed Force looked like a cartoon. It was just so stupid. They should have spent the money to make the movie better to come out with. But instead, this is how you know they're terrible. James Gunn has a terrible business mind. You hype this movie up. You say that you changed the ending of it to introduce your DCEU. I mean, to introduce your DC, which doesn't make sense because George Clooney was the Batman at the end. How exactly did that introduce your DCU? Please, somebody let me know. I'm missing something. And while you're saying that this is one of the best superhero movies you've seen, you know the CGI looks terrible in most of this movie. But you released it anyway. This is how you know that James Gunn is a terrible head. Instead of saying, listen, let's go back and clean up this CGI. Let's add a little bit more money to it to clean the CGI up. And maybe it'll get more eyeballs on it. But you can't do that, though, because you've already announced that you're scrapping this universe. So y'all pitting out these movies that you already trashed the interest in. You destroy all interest in those movies. And it has terrible CGI. How do you think your universe is going to do when you do something like that? It makes absolutely no sense. James Gunn was the wrong person to put in charge of DCEU. I don't know if Zack Snyder would have been the right person to be in DCEU. They're directors. But somebody who would stay the course of that would go back and look at the numbers of what they had at the beginning rationally and say, look, we had something here. All we got to do is keep this movie, this, and then we're going to go from here, and then we're going to keep moving on. Right? That's what they should have did. But because DC was so afraid not to be Marvel, that they got in their own way several times. And I for one, and I'm hoping that if Netflix is planning to continue the DCEU with the directors that was in DCEU, not just Zack Snyder, and have somebody coherent at the helm, and if that's Mike DeLuca who wants to continue the DCEU as we knew it, I'm hoping that happens. We have some people saying, well, James Gunn had all these people, they put all their hard work and time, and they're going to be out of a job. What you think happened to the DCEU characters? Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, who they had come back, announce he was back, and then fire him again. What do you think happened to those people? Ben Affleck had a whole movie written. Patty Jenkins had a whole movie for Wonder Woman written, and Zack Snyder said, James Gunn said no. We don't care about those ones? Come on. We have so many characters that have already been introduced in the DCEU to waste them now. You got Deadshot. What was Will Smith's character name? And Idris Elba character. You got those two. I would keep Peacemaker season 1. You got John Cena's Peacemaker. You got Harley Quinn. All of these characters that have been introduced. I mean, why is it that we feel for James Gunn small amount of characters introduced and not all the ones introduced in the DCEU so far? Joe Manganiello with a badass Deathstroke suit. Come on. It can be done. And it seems like, hey, James Gunn, it seems like we're not a toxic minority. It seems like we're the majority. So, I don't know. If you are a DCU fan, I ain't got no, this isn't a war. It's just entertainment. I just don't want the DCEU. I don't mind if they continue James Gunn DCU as long as they continue the DCEU. And if I had to pick between the two, it would be the DCEU and scrap James Gunn if they're not going to do both of them. And also, I really don't like the suits that James Gunn has come up with. They're all baggy, terrible. Like the Superman suit looked like a Guardians of the Galaxy suit to me. It's just terrible. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Do y'all think that Netflix is really going to buy WBD? And you think Mike DeLuca is really going to continue the DCEU? I feel like Zack Snyder knows something that we don't know, and I hope that what he knows is that they're going to finish the DCEU. But anyway, that's the video for today. As always, the pleasure is all mine. Yeah, that's y'all. I love y'all. Peace.